It is opening weekend for March Madness, and many sports fans are also placing bets on the games. Mobile sports betting was first allowed in New York last January, and the first 14 months have provided some big money for the state. In just that first month last January, more than $1.6 billion was wagered statewide. And here's why that revenue is. New York charges a 51% tax on revenue from those bets. And most of that tax money goes to education. Initial estimates from the State Gaming Commission thought sports betting would generate $357 million in tax revenue for the 2023 fiscal year, but new numbers blow that away. The state says through February, mobile betting had generated $661 million for education. The fiscal year ends, by the way, March 31st. Joining us live now to talk about all of this is Johnny Avello, the Director of Sportsbook Operations with DraftKings. Johnny, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
We'll get to March Madness in just a few minutes, but I want to start off by asking you if you expected these numbers in the first year of online betting here in New York, or if the state is kind of exceeding all expectations.
Well, remember that Jersey had it first, and New Yorkers were crossing the border to go to Jersey to make wagers. So I knew when we opened in New York and they could stay home, that was going to make a big impact for the state. And a lot of the business was certainly in the metropolitan area, but that's grown and it's throughout the entire state now. And there's still a lot more growth to happen.
And it's tax season. When people file their taxes, they have to remember that they're required to report gambling winnings for online sports betting if they win more than, what, $600 a year. We know some people who are still waiting for their forms from DraftKings. When should they get them by, and how should they handle that? You kind of still have to do your taxes, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's say over $600. I think it's winnings of winning on a certain bet, a certain amount.
Okay.
I don't believe they do it on an accumulation of wagers.
Okay, so maybe that's why people weren't getting forms. Finally, we are in the middle of March Madness, which of course is one of the biggest events in the sports world and for sports betting. And with no local teams for us to root for here in Western New York this year, basketball fans are having to decide where to put their money if they want to place some bets. So what trends for the tournament are you seeing here in New York State?
Well, we've already had a couple of underdogs win. Remember last year, St. Peter's was the team that made a little run. They became the darling. This year, Princeton won a first-round game. Furman won a first-round game. And I guess a close proximity to you would be Pittsburgh, who's about to win as an underdog. So March Madness hasn't changed. Those the teams not expected to win, they do win during this tournament.
Do people use a lot of strategy, do a lot of research, or do some people just choose randomly with it on their phone? What do you think most people are doing?
You know, some do a deep dive into handicapping, and that's fine. And you should be kind of familiar with the teams and maybe, who maybe has better guards and who has better defenses. That's all good, but there is nothing wrong with going on your phone and looking at a side that you think you like because they're a home team or a close proximity, or you have a name that sounds like yours, a player on the team. All of that works also. So, I don't condemn any way of handicapping.
And how does men's college basketball compare to women's college basketball, and then compare that to the NFL for you guys?
Well, the NFL is a big sport for us, and so on a week-to-week basis, that is a very huge proposition for us. This March Madness is the biggest event for us of anything we do. It takes place over the course of 3 weeks, where a Super Bowl, which is also a big event, takes place for one day. You mentioned women's basketball. We are booking all the games in women's basketball, and they are doing very well. And that has continued to grow through the years that we've been doing it. So at DraftKings, you'll find everything you're looking for.
All right, we've been speaking with Johnny Avello, Director of Sportsbook Operations with DraftKings. Johnny, thank you for joining us on our town hall tonight.
You're welcome. Have a fine day.
Thank you.